He taura harakeke, kakukumea a tona wā ka whati. He taura whakapapa, kakukumea ahakoa ka pihia te roa e kore rawa e ngā motu. A cord made of flax, when stretched, will eventually break. But a cord made of whakapapa, no matter how far it is stretched, will never be severed. My journey into alcohol and drugs was a slide straight into home base. It wasn't a slow start for me, it was a solid, full-on race. At the age of 14, and the insanity of drug and alcohol use never stopped for me until I got into my 30s. It was during that time that I felt I was struggling with identity and who I was and where I belonged. Everywhere I turned to, I couldn't seem to fit. And I found a lot of solace in the bottom of a bottle or in the use of a syringe. The insanity that came with it, though, and the stripping away of my mana, stripping away of my identity and fully breaking me away from whakapapa, was a non-ending, spiralling nightmare. And it wasn't until I got into treatment, my second treatment, that I sat there and I realised that there had to be more than what I'd been experiencing. That rock bottom that's always talked about, I'd hit that ground so many times it had become my norm. And I'd found a way to live in rock bottom and manage in a way that I could still breathe. But that's all I was doing, was breathing. When all my relationships had been severed, when I'd lost everything, when I had no one to call out to, and all I could experience was that darkness and that pit of despair continuously, it became really apparent to me that the change had to be from me. It wasn't going to come externally. But for me to grow, for me to get better, for me to heal, I had to find me and accept me. And I realised I had a kurawai, and this kurawai was being dragged on the ground behind me, and it was ripped and it was torn. It was full of shame and it was full of guilt. The feathers had long gone, the shine had gone, and the mana had gone. It was through treatment, it was through spending time with me and working through things that were important to me and working through areas and relationships that were important to me, that were going to sustain my life, that I was able to start to work on my kurawai. Within time, the kurawai rose higher. It came off the ground. It began to wrap around my shoulders. Colourful feathers began to appear on it, and where there were rips from shame and guilt, dishonesty, loss of self, loss of relationships, these rips began to be mended. It was through the mana of my kurawai that I'm able to sit here today and breathe air, not be in the bottom of a dark pit, but to be able to be plugged in into the essence of who I am as mana wahine. It is through the mana of my kurawai that I'm able to have the relationships I have today, and to now embrace my children within my kurawai and sustain them as it's sustaining me. My question today to people is, what is your kurawai? What does your kurawai look like? Is it dragging on the ground behind you? Is it holding you back? Is it full of shame and guilt? Is it telling you you're not good enough? Does it say you don't belong? It's time now for you to pull up your kurawai, to start loving yourself, to allow that kurawai to embrace you instead of that bottle or that syringe. Your kurawai will mend as you mend. Your kurawai will heal as you heal. And it will once again be the guardian, the kaitiaki, that sits around your shoulders.